Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back in Dubai, away from extreme cold in London. And then I'm sure, Siju, you would agree because you're coming from Chicago. I think this particular session is going to be very interesting because over the last number of years, what we have seen, especially the last few quarters, we've seen a massive increase in the arena of prop trading. So we'll be covering from several different perspectives. Number one, what is the truth about prop trading? And if there's an actual career, actual income source that you can make of it, what are the industry regulations? What sort of a risk management we should really adhere to when we are trading? Before we do that, very briefly about myself, 20 years in the industry. Before that, I was working as a hedge fund trader for Bank of New York Mellon, equity trading in Bank of America. And as you can see from the titles, I do write for Nasdaq and for CNN Arabic over here, and CIO as Zaye Capital Markets. So Harsh, starting with yourself, just briefly describe your journey to date and then how you are involved in the industry of prop trading. And then the same question to you, please.
Hello, I am Harsh. First of all, I want to thank IFX team for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of such a well-known audience and panelists. As a head of technology and having expertise in Forex and prop trading CRM development, I lead our efforts to deliver innovative solutions to our clients. At TECHYSQUAD, we offer a range of services including Forex and prop trading CRM development, Palm and Copier website development, and many more. What makes us different is our ability to deliver quick CRM setup in just 30 minutes with free customization and seamless data migration. And when it comes to customization, at TECHYSQUAD, we don't say it can't be done. We say how creative do you want. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harsh, for the question, and thank you for the organizers for putting this together. So in response to your question, Siju Daniel, Chief Commercial Officer for ATFX Group. My journey in this space has been quite a long one, nearly 25 years or so, across the globe from New York to London to Hong Kong. And in my role at ATFX as a Chief Commercial Officer, my focus is primarily business development, corporate strategy, and sort of how to expand our business. And having been in the industry for such a long time, I've seen a lot of trends, a lot of things sort of come and go. And I got to be honest, this prop trading industry is something that I've been looking at for some time, and I was quite stunned at how big it had become. And so in our role and at ATFX, it's an industry that we had studied for quite some time because the noise and the traffic around it was something that you just couldn't ignore. And I think every broker in the space started looking at it. And so for us, very recently, just about a week ago, we launched our own prop business called AT Funded. And so while we are a new entrant into the market, we've done quite a lot of research to better understand it. And in order to launch it, we've brought a very deep and experienced team to kind of help us with it. So we're very excited about the space. Obviously, we're very involved in it, and we look forward to contribute to it as it grows.
Thank you for that. So let's start on the last few notes that you've dropped in your opening comments. Been in the industry for a long time. You've seen many things coming and going, and prop trading is something that you guys been looking from the far for a long period of time and then seeing if this is the right step and if it's the right direction for you guys to go. But congratulations, first of all, on starting on the launch of the new side of the business. But what really triggered those decision-making key points that you thought that, you know what, prop trading is the powerhouse and it is going to grow? So what, from your perspective and from the company's perspective, were the key areas that made you guys, ATFX, at such a big firm, to jump into this arena?
Certainly. So, like I said, it became so big that you simply couldn't ignore it, right? The media around it, the news around it, the hype around it, and simply from a visibility and traffic perspective, right? So when you're looking at the sort of the total addressable market in prop versus, let's say, retail brokerage, it's the sizes of it are multiple. And in many ways, it is borderless, right? And I found it to be something that's interesting, innovative. And for a broker looking at it, you're looking at it from the outside in. And like I said, we studied it quite closely. And we thought that, okay, we've seen this industry grow. We've seen some household names appear. And obviously, prior to entering that, we had to figure out, okay, well, what could be our edge, right? And I think we're seeing, obviously, a lot of changes coming in place. And I think in 24, it was a tough year because for every day that a prop launched, a prop closed, right? And so from an ATFX perspective, the question was, how can we offer something unique? And how can we leverage what we're good at and what we're strong at to be able to offer a better product offering, so to speak? So I think coming from the brokerage perspective, having deep operating experience across the globe, from an organizational perspective, from an operations perspective, understanding market risk, trading risk, we felt gives us an edge. But more so, one of the things that we really saw lacking in the prop space was trust, right? Because again, props were opening and props were closing, and we thought, okay, I think there's an opportunity here to have something powered and supported by a brand that's obviously global, that's been in business for quite some time, that's a market leader, that also has regulatory experience in the brokerage side. So the key thing there that we saw was that trust seemed like it was lacking, and we at ATFX could leverage all of our strengths to bring primarily trust and, more importantly, stability to the industry. But because, like I said, in 24, we saw a lot of businesses close, and we felt that as a value proposition, that could be quite attractive to the client base. And that was the reason that we decided to enter. But more importantly, it was also finding the right team. And we were lucky in that we found a team with deep operating experience who knew the space, and combined, it's one of those situations where I often like to say, where 1 + 1 is greater than 2. And that's what finally triggered our decision to enter the market.
You've mentioned having an edge is very important in the industry, especially in the prop trading, is where the shops are closing every single day pretty much. And a lot of that is just because of not having the appropriate hedge. You just follow the hype and then you just run for the hype. So from your perspective, Harsh, from the technology perspective, what sort of an edge a trading firm, a prop firm should have, which could really differentiate them in the market?
Yeah, so to run a successful prop firm, the two key pillars are powerful platform, and second is the base CRM. So powerful platform with the low latency to execute the trades. So it will help for that. And another main key feature is a powerful CRM, so that it can provide you the reporting part and all your operation part, like deposit, and you can view all the current progress of the assessment, and you will have the option for demo access to run examine all the assessment for that.
Siju, I'm going to roll it back to you. Regulation is very, very important. And then I think this is where you were talking about having a team and having that credibility part of that. In your experience, how is that helping you?
Certainly. So I think, obviously, regulation is something that's often talked about in the prop space. Will it come? If it will happen, where it will come
Would it be
from?
correct to say that prop trading is still very much of a gray area to a larger extent, where companies can come, and then you have actual players who are fully regulated, and then they come with the full force of a power with the regulations to assure that? Would it be correct statement to say it? Just elaboration on that?
I would say regulators are still studying it, right? I think they're doing their own due diligence. They're doing their own market research. And I think, this question of will it be regulated or not comes up often, right? And there's those who are for it, those who are against it. And I think, but in order to be in the prop space, understanding that it may come down the pipeline, right, is number one and critical, especially if you're a prop and you have businesses or large chunks of customers in markets like the US, the UK, or Australia, where obviously the regulatory structures are quite stringent, have been around for quite some time. But I think the challenge for a prop firm is understanding, trying to potentially work with regulators, one, being forthcoming about what it is that you're doing, how you're operating. And I think coming from a brokerage side, we can apply best practices that exist in the brokerage side. For example, treating customers fairly, making rules transparent, things that are just in some ways common in business sense, but that's something that's mandated on the regulatory side of the business that we can bring to the prop. But more importantly, it's if it comes down the pipeline, how do you apply that, right? So having for us at ATFX 8 regulatory licenses from the UK to Australia to here, ESCA, so on and so forth, we have operating experience there, right? So we can leverage the team that we have, we can leverage the experience that we have and say, okay, as this thing formulates, how do we comply? Because you're going to have to comply if it comes down the line. So coming with that.
How short is the window? You said you have to comply. How short is the window? I know it's a difficult one to say.
I don't know, right? I wish I did, but you know, I've worked with regulators across the globe, and some of them are, you know, they come and they do a market consultation, and they'll work alongside participants and give you adequate time. And I've had others where, you know, overnight the rules are set and you have 20 days to implement. So I'm hoping it's the former rather than the latter.
The party can go for a little bit longer, but then that also means that what is the true definition of prop trading? Because there are players in the industry who are just going for a newbies, just asking them to pass the challenge, and that is the actual source of revenue for them, because they know that they're not going to be able to pass them, and if they do pass it, they won't be able to adhere to the strict risk management rules. Because I think three things among three of us, if there's one common discipline that we have learned from our professional discipline, is that at work, if you don't follow the rules, they show you a very simple way, that is the door, and then you got to leave. That's it. And I think in the prop trading world, it's not like that, because you are your own boss. So when you become your own boss, even though you should be paying more attention to the risk and the rules, but you become lazy or you become ignorant because of the trading results and everything with that, it comes in place. And I think this is where my next question is going to be for you. For me, in the last 15 years, because I do run a quant fund myself where we do a lot of backtest strategies on that, risk management is one of the most important thing. It is not about, and honestly, my strategy is not going to be fit for you, your strategy is not going to be fit for her, and then so on and so forth. Every particular person is very, very different. But I think one common rule that we can all agree on is the risk management. In terms of a technology, what sort of a support do you think our prop trading firms should give, or they are trying to give, to have the enhanced risk management?
Yes, definitely. Risk management is the main factor in prop trading. So to prevent all the maximum daily loss rule and overall loss, many platforms and CRM are providing that feature. If any trader is exiting that amount of like a maximum overall loss or something, so automatically his trading account will be deactivated, and he will his challenge will be filled. And in CRM, you will get the many options, something like you can track the what is the his previous day equity, and what is in volatile market, how he is getting more profit. So all this reporting part for risk management can help for the broker.
How fierce the competition is going to be?
Well, like I said, we're seeing new entrants into the market, right? And you're getting players who are coming in who have deep operating experience, for example, in financial services. They have much larger balance sheets. So in some ways, the competition will continue to be fierce, right? At the other end of the spectrum, I would say the barriers to entry are still relatively low, right? So
why are they relatively low? Because regulators are still studying it?
Yes, obviously that's one component of it, right? So to get into a regulated business, let's say in the CFD space, you're talking about millions of dollars, right? So in the prop space, so one, the lack of regulation, right? Number one. Number two, the surplus, I would say, of third-party technology vendors, right? And that's something for us here at ATFX. We did a lot of studies, and we thought, okay, innovation is probably what's going to drive growth in the space, right? And we looked at a lot of options, and there's a lot of providers out there, there's a lot of vendors out there. But ultimately, if we're beholden to a third-party technology provider, we knew that it would be very difficult for us to innovate. And that's why, after careful consideration, we went ahead and launched something that was done with internal proprietary tech. So, again, to answer your question about competition, I think you get it from both angles of it, right? One, the barriers to entry are relatively low, so someone who wants to decide that they have some digital marketing experience and launch a prop, perhaps overnight can do it. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you're seeing obviously very large established financial players entering the space. So again, competition to me is always is great. It requires us to strive to be the best. But I think what you're going to see is slight changes in business models. And what I mean by that, for example, is, as you said earlier, right? Are you doing a prop just to make money off the challenges and that's the end of the day? Or are you trying to sort of transcend and evolve your model a little bit and say, okay, what more can I extract from this? What are the value adds, right? So that's obviously why you've seen, obviously, powerhouses or household names in the prop space move into the brokerage space, right? The other way around as well. And for us, again, going back to what could be possibly unique for us at AT, so you've got ATFX, which is the brokerage side of it. We have AT Funded, which is our prop arm. But we want successful traders, and that's why at the tail end of it, we have something called AT Funded Plus. What that means is if you make it through the challenges and you get to the funded stage, if you're a profitable trader, you're successful, guess what? That's very useful for us because I have a wide range of clients who are always looking for successful traders because that will help my copy trading side, copy trading products.
How big is the portfolio of the profitable traders right now?
Well, we just launched on AT Funded, so I'm not in a position to say what that is, so perhaps next year when we chat, I can tell you. But I mean, again, historically, you're obviously seeing, what the pass rates are and so on and so forth. But I think from our perspective, our business model doesn't end with selling the challenge, right? It's to convert you through to the funded stage, identify successful traders, and then leverage that for all of our, 200,000 plus retail clients who are looking for good signals and good copies and good socials.
And the challenge that you do have, does it have like other do you think that there should be restrictions in terms of what asset classes a trader should do? Like, should it be just only Forex? Should it be like stocks or indices? Do you think that makes a difference in terms of, like, let's say that a newbie walks into them and then they wanted to do a prop trading. Now, from your firm's perspective, do you think that it's easier for a newbie to come and pass the challenge if they are trading stocks or if they're trading Forex, or cryptos, or stocks, or Forex?
I mean, to me, an asset class in itself didn't necessarily define, for example, the success rate, right? Having been in the business for a long time, it's more so, the risk management rules that you have in place, right? So is crypto more volatile, for example, than stocks? Sure, but what if you're levered up on stocks 2001? How is it any different, right? So I don't know that asset classes in and of itself would have much differences. I mean, I could be wrong. There could be someone who has much deeper research than me saying, no, well, historically, this is what you're saying. But what I've seen is that leverage has a more tighter correlation to profitability. So from our perspective as a FXCFD provider, naturally, what we will offer is the products that we are familiar with, right? Because the other thing we're also using is all of the education and research that we have for our client base, we're able to give to our prop customers. But at the same time, I've obviously seen very successful props who are massive on the future side of the business or on the equity side. And I think there are regional and geographic flavors to that.
In terms of education platforms, what sort of a support from the technology are you providing, especially with the use of AI?
Yes, so for education purpose, as a technology perspective, in CRM, we can there is a IB module. So it is for the introducing broker. So broker can introduce more IBs or affiliate to the platform, so that they can build the team and their team can build the trust on their affiliate. So this is the main key factor. And for the educational purpose, they can run a campaign. There is the option in the CRM also. These all factors are can be helped for the educational purpose.
I am curious from your particular perspective, especially the technology, and then what you've touched on. The barriers to entry are quite low. How low are the barriers to entries are in terms of a cost? Let's say the person sitting over there wants to open up a prop fund, right? What sort of a capital? Because I know for CFDs, you need, especially if you wanted to go for FCA, you need to have a serious amount of money in the bank in order to do that. But for a prop trading, if you wanted to open up a prop trading firm, how much capital do you really need? Because right now regulators are studying, as you have mentioned.
As a beginner, if anyone wants to start the prop firm, so there are nowadays many trading platforms are compatible with the trading prop trading, so it is a low barrier for them. They can for the new beginner, they can start their journey for prop trading easily with the they don't have to pay more for the their well-known trading platforms. So it is more compatible nowadays. So this is the one factor for beginners.
Sorry, if I could just add to that, right? And again, when I talked about competition in the market and I talked about the low barrier to entry, right? Like, I don't necessarily mean to say that it's entirely negative, right?
No, it is
what I
absolute-
mean,
yeah.
how so is the lower barrier to entry invites, let's say, more nefarious operators. And what I mean by that is, you know, you're trying to get in, you can get into this business and it's just a quick buck, right? And it doesn't create further innovation. It doesn't create further protections, right? And so obviously
If it is a quick buck, does that mean that you'll be relying constantly on a churn rate, like just the new clients?
Well,
all
what
the
I
time?
mean by that is, you know, you're seeing props, for example, launch, and you're seeing them close. And in 24, we saw a lot of that. And it's because, you know, the rules kept changing. They kept changing how the challenges work. They started banning IPs and all sorts of different practices, right? So I feel like if you get into the space, right? Like, again, I do the historical average of any business, right? Over a given year is...
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. When you say the rules keeps changing, right? You really mean rules keeps changing from a prop trading firm's perspective, right? Because regulators haven't said anything, right?
Yes, I'm meaning on the challenge itself.
Challenge itself, right. Now, the rules are changing because more traders are winning, and then that's why they are changing the rules. My question to you is, more traders are winning, and this is because they are utilizing the power of artificial intelligence, the chat GTP and the other, how easy it is to code by using these particular platform?
I think there's a whole industry that's spun around just that, right? How to pass challenges. And so I think when you launch a prop firm, right, in addition to just being able to get off the shelf tech, you have to spend some time thinking about, you know, what are the rules, what are the parameters for risk management, as Harsh said. So you have to factor all that in to the challenge that you're structuring and the rules that you're deploying. So when I see rules are changing to the challenges mid-challenge, then that tells me you didn't put enough thought into it when you designed the whole thing. Now, I'm not saying conditions change. To your point, I do believe more and more sophisticated traders or groups of traders are coming. So that could be powered by AI or algorithmic trading or systematic trading. But again, that comes back down to how did you design your risk parameters? How are you leveraging technology? What do you have that automatically catches these issues? Because again, those who are going for the quick buck go in, hopefully trying to sell as many challenges as possible, then realize that the payout percentages are a lot higher than they thought, and then you have a cash flow problem, right? And then suddenly the CEOs are having issues talking to their staff, and that, again, therein causes the problem when the barriers to entry are too low.
So tell me how these changes have occurred, because you've been providing CRM for a long period of time for these particular ones. How much the curve has shifted? What made them curve? What are the new rules that they're implementing? What were the old rules? Could you just give me a little bit more clarity on it?
Yeah, broker comes with the different requirements. Many brokers are come with the 3-step process. Like if a trader wants to get the funded account, so he need to complete the 3 steps. Same condition he has to pass again and again, and after that he will get the funded account. And many other brokers are comes with the different condition also, that they provide the 2 conditions, like if you pay more exam fee, you will get the instant funded account, and another is the standard package, that 2-step process.
Okay. We've got less than about 3 minutes left on the clock. I wanted to speak about the future of prop trading. Where do you see the prop trading moving in 2025?
So obviously we wouldn't get involved unless we thought it was exciting, right? And so I do see a sort of shuffling or reshuffling of the space. And what I mean by that is we're seeing more players who are thinking about more than a one-dimensional business model. And I think that's where it becomes unique, right? And I hope that a lot of sort of the bad headlines and media attached to the prop industry that happened in 24, we're bullish that in 25, just given the entrants that are in the space today, the powerhouses that have been stable over the long term, they're looking at this as a long-term business model. And I think having more entrants enter the space, thinking about this from a long-term perspective, makes it exciting. I believe it leads to innovation, and that's why we're getting involved.
Yeah. So as in the next future of prop trading, it is more for whichever brokers are old in the market, so they will more dominant in the market. And if you adapt the technology advancement and changes in regulatory, so it is the key role to grow more in the prop trading firm.
Just some closing thoughts on this one, and then I'm sharing this from my own personal perspective over 20 years in the experience. Some of you sitting over here, or perhaps looking at the recordings of this video afterwards, there are a few key points that I wanted to give you. If you want to go into the world of prop trading, your first rule should be a thorough study of your back testing of your technology and your strategy. And make sure where the data feed is coming from. And I'm sure that Siju will 100% agree on that, because a candle which is 5-minute candle at 1 a.m. looks very different, the same candle from Pepperstone, because the change of the spreads, because the change of the tick data, where it comes. And that is going to kill you in the industry. Whatever prop firm that you are going to go with, first thing that you have to do is download the feed from that particular instrument, whether that is a forex pair, whatever it is, back test it. Back test it from a two different perspective. Are you back testing from the macro fundamentals perspective, i.e. during this period the Fed was dovish or whatever it was, and then how that happened? Or number two, are you trading because of the quant, i.e. you are trading on the momentum side of that? Whether that trading is going to be, okay, I'm going to buy it 11 o'clock every day, and if the price breaks above that one. And then I tell you what, a lot of time it is not the brokerage companies but the data feed which is given to them, that your strategy may be that you are buying in one tick above the high of the candle, and the one tick high will never happen on that particular data feed, and then you'll be holding the bag rather than buy. The system will trigger the sell. These are very, very important things before you go into that. But with the help of AI, it is, I don't have a coding background. I have 2 quant traders, researchers who work for me. And then the whole job, all day long, we come up with various different hypotheses, and then we test the hypothesis. Then we test them with the more heavy data, more longer term data. And then we form a hypothesis, how long the data we should go for on the back of that is as well. It's not about a 6 months, it's not about a 1 month or 1 year or a 5 year or a 10 year. Depending on our own hypothesis for our strategy, that determines the time length for everything. Now the clock is ticking. Gents, thanks so much for taking the time out. Please put your hands together for our wonderful panelists.
Thank you
guys very much.